This is a show about jewelry, why we wear it, why it matters, how it's made, and what it means. I'm Alex D, and I turn cannabis into gold. I make mind-blowing jewelry in gold, silver, and platinum from cannabis plants here in Canada for stage, screen, for people who want to rock crazy jewelry. I'm the Cannabis Goldsmith. Working on bling for animals. Let me take off this bomber jacket because it sounds like I'm wearing a snowsuit. If you're not from North America, you won't know what that means, but it's like a suit that sounds like when you walk or you do anything, it makes the sound. And bomber jackets do that too. So let me just take that off. There it is. All right. So I'm here at the bench. What I've done is I've hooked a microphone up on top of my bench so that while I'm working here, I can talk to you and record. And the reason is that it's really, really hard. See, it's weird being a creative where you wanna make creative shit like an artist, but then you have to podcast it after and talk about it because both skills don't seem to match all that well. I know there's some artists out in the podcastosphere who have amazing art podcasts. They can do this. They can talk about art and actually do art at the same time. So that's what I'm going to try and do here. I'd be working at the bench for hours and then creating a piece and then thinking, fuck, why didn't I record it? I've recorded video while I work, but I really don't like doing that because you know the camera is on. And it interferes, I think, with the way things are working. Anyway, if you didn't hear the intro, the story on this show, the Cannabis Goldsmith, I'm a jeweler here in Canada. I work in the Thousand Islands area and in Toronto, where our pieces are cast in precious metal. I design them here in the design workshop in the Thousand Islands area, Ontario. But the hot metal shit happens in Toronto. But what this show is going to be about is about jewelry. I want to talk about animals. Pet bling, animal jewelry. What it can be. You hear me filing away here? I am still working on a massive chain that I started working on, I guess, 2 days ago. I'm filing links down so they're all the same. But anyway, let me talk about pet bling. Like, a lot of you have had the joy, the opportunity of having a pet, a dog, a cat, a dog. I think of dogs mostly. I always wanted a dog, but my parents would never let me have a dog. So my whole life, I'm an old guy now, so my whole life I never had a dog. And then I was moving around and couldn't really get a dog. And then there were times in my life when I was such a fucking disaster that it's lucky I never had a dog. Because I could hardly take care of myself, let alone a critter. About dogs, I didn't know anything about pets, really, until I had a girlfriend, and she had a small Boston Terrier. It was just like you could fit it in your hand, basically, when we first started going out. And then as we were together, this dog grew up, and I sort of got to watch it. This dog, Dexter, how he grew up and how he became a personality in his own right, how he became a soul. So I discovered that pets have souls. I mean, I sort of knew that, but like I knew they had personalities, but you have to be really, really close to an animal to actually see it. And I did, and I thought it was really amazing. So every animal has its own soul and personality, and this is what I think. When considering jewelry for your furry critter, keep that in mind. I started thinking, when we started working with cannabis plants, I started thinking, okay, all these giant dogs you would see in the High Times magazine or in these magazines, these pot magazines. High Times is the Bible, but these other mags you'd see, some dude in his field with this giant dog sitting next to him, or on Instagram you'd see all these guys in California with their giant dogs. And I was thinking, you know what? These giant dogs are there protecting fields or whatever, they're protecting the owners of the fields. They need something really good. So I designed some dog bling out of cannabis buds. I mean, people are making cannabis bud jewelry now, but we were doing it years ago, and we call them Dogbuds. We custom make them for dogs out of cannabis buds and engrave them with the dog's name and like all that. But I was thinking about dogs and animals and their personalities and their characters. Like, I mean, it doesn't have to be a cannabis bud. I mean, your dog likes pork chops. I mean, make them a small pork chop and sterling silver. Maybe they're called pork chop. Make them a small pork chop. That's what I would do. I mean, your dog is you. Your dog, your cat I mean, it's an extension. They're an extension of you. They're a rep. They're repping you. That's what I'm thinking. So that when I invented our dog buds, I was thinking, dogs fucking deserve some good quality custom-made bling. Not this shit coming out of mass-produced factories, like the dog bone name tag. Never put a dog bone name tag on your dog. Unless it's custom made. Or unless, of course, that's all you can afford. Then your dog will forgive you. I've seen dog bling with gemstones, and I've seen dog bling without gemstones. I've seen little frilly dog blings. I've seen big chunky dog blings like ours. So I was thinking, let's make it different. God, your pet deserves better. And I'm sure I'm not the only person to feel that way about their friend, their furry friend. But my bling I currently make, is cannabis buds that we cast in different precious metals like gold or silver. They're real buds, and then we cast them in precious metal, and they become dog charms. Cat charms too, some people use them for. Or they can put them on keychains, but they're meant to be animal bling. And that's the way I like to think about it. But lately I've been thinking about other pieces we could design for animals. I've got some leaves I'm working on now. I make different leaf live cannabis leaf products. We get a live cannabis leaf and cast it in precious metal for shoe jewelry and for different types of jewelry that we make. But I'm thinking I might do that for a puppy too, a small cannabis leaf folded over maybe as a bling. Now, granted, your dog may not be a weed consumer, but if you are, they'll think it's totally sick that you got them wearing a cannabis bud. But as for themes for bling, like, the people who go to get the dog bone that's been stamped out of aluminum in China by the quadrillion, and they pay whatever, $5 for it or $10. This goes on their dog, on their critter. I'm thinking, no. Stop. Get them something special. So I was thinking actually a lot over the course of the pandemic. I've been listening to a fair amount of music, but I've been watching a lot of DJs on Twitter, pre-Elon, of course, but Mark Farina in particular. And Mark Farina has cats. He's a cat dude. Also a hell of a good DJ. But he's been posting sets and then pictures of his cats and shit. And I was thinking, I'm gonna one day see if I can get one of Mark Farina's cats to test pilot some cat bling. I have an idea for a piece of cat bling that would be just absolutely ideal for Mark Farina's cats. Little mushrooms, little bells, where the stem is the ringer and the cap is the bell. Mushroom cat bells. If you know Mark Farina, he does the mushroom jazz series of music compilations that are fucking amazing. But yeah, mushroom cat bells. This is an idea I had. So we already make 14 karat gold psilocybe mushrooms here, so I could probably convert one into a bell. Okay, is this filing driving you crazy? I hope not. Because if everybody is like, oh my god, it's a great podcast except for the fucking filing noises, and then I'll have to stop filing. But I have to tell you, it's nice talking to you while I'm working, because it can be a long process to like I've been working on this chain now for days. Like, it's huge. It's a huge silver chain. It's huge. Like 24 inches long or whatever, and massive links like you would use on a bicycle, like just giant fucking things. But it's going to be beautiful. But each link has to be addressed individually, so they all kind of fit together in the end the right way. But anyway, back to animal bling. Like, your animal, your pet, your friend has a personality, and I think the bling should reflect that. When I was thinking at first about those giant pit bulls guarding fields, big buds around their neck wouldn't be a stretch of the imagination, and would actually work really well in a dog like that. But not all dogs, that wouldn't suit all dogs, for example. Like, I know another dog, Higgins, who was like this Brussels Griffon. He's a tiny little fucker. He's like, I don't know, fit him in your hand, basically. But he has this perpetual displeased expression on his face. He's actually just fabulous. He's a fabulous dude. But he looks like, first impressions happen with dogs too. Because, Higgins, you look at him and you think, fuck, what is he pissed off at? He's pissed off at everything. But he's not really. That's just the way he looks. But anyway, a dog like that, you need something Art Deco for a dog like that. Something very sophisticated. Or a giant diamond or something. That would be like sick on a dog like that. Because he could rock it, right? Like, he'd rock it. But this is not something you would put on a wiener dog. A big diamond or an Art Deco piece. You would have to go in other directions with wiener dogs. Thus, Pet Bling is a whole world, and we are just scraping the surface or filing it down. So I had this idea of, thinking about DJs and stuff. I used to publish a DJ culture magazine called Tribe in Canada for over a decade. In the 90s, we covered the rise of house music in Canada and the rise and fall of the rave scene. Really exciting. So I know DJs a lot. I know a lot of DJs, and I love DJs. I used to DJ when I was a young man myself. I was thinking dog bling and DJs and kind of weaving them together. I was thinking of making a bunch of small ghetto blasters for dogs. Modeled after the famous ghetto blasters of days gone by. But not necessarily 3D ghetto blasters, like a flat plate of silver, if you can imagine that, a flat piece of silver cut out in the shape of the face of the ghetto blaster, and then the face of the ghetto blaster burned into it, like engraved into it, but not 3D, not thick, because it's a dog, right? So, you could go full blaster if you wanted, but depends on your budget, I guess. But here, that's the beauty of the custom work that we do. It's like we can do whatever. We can make shit amazing. So yeah, as I talk to you, I'm filing little chain links for a chain. They're not little. But each one is about the size of a wedding band. And I'm filing off the tops, the little areas where the silver flowed into our custom link mold. So when it flows in, there's a little bit on the end that you have to file off and smooth out, and that's what I'm doing. It takes a lot of time. It's time consuming. I could rush it with a machine. I'm not going to do that. We're not in a rush. It's -10 out now. Winter. Christmas is past. And I'm just going to make this as best as I can fucking be. It's looking good now. You think bigger than the little bone, the bone stamped out of aluminum, or the little tag stamped out of aluminum. Get him a pendant out of silver or something like that. Get them something classy. They deserve it. When I first launched the Dogbuds for Tribe, it was like I'd seen these guys running these huge growing ops and with their big, huge pit bulls. And I was saying, look, man, your dogs are keeping you safe. They're working. They're working hard. Reward them. Give them something really fucking nice, like something sick. Even if the dog can't conceptualize jewelry, they know you've done something for them that is above and beyond, because that's how they are with you. Now, when I speak about dogs all the time, I could mean other critters too, but I don't have experience with them so much. So apply my logic to your animal of choice. So yeah, my experience with dogs is limited, but it's enough to allow me to design products for them. All right. We've got almost a half an hour of filing. By now, you're getting the idea of how what's involved in jewelry making. Lots of filing, Lots and lots of filing, lots of sanding, more and more sanding. So you'll be hearing a bit of that, but I'll be talking too. So hopefully we'll get through it together. Now, let's see. Next, how many links have I done now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 20. Jesus. Not even halfway there yet. So yeah, so the blings we're working on for animals now. We produce Dogbuds. I make Dogbuds. It's a regular product that I make. And you can find out about them at tribe.ca/dogbuds. I make them in 3 sizes. I thought, there'll be small dogs, like tiny little dogs with no neck to hold them. So that'll be a small size. And it's sort of intermediate dogs, like, I don't know, wiener dogs or whatever size. You're kind of your average dog. And then a large size for those giant pit bulls that guard the fields and protect. Big German shepherds. So the large bud is large and quite heavy. It's been super cold up here today, like really cold. It was like minus 15 this morning. And I just moved to a colder area of Ontario, I think, or in the Thousand Islands area, where I can do design and record podcasts. But I had no idea how cold it can get here suddenly, too. It's so weird. It was like room temperature a couple of weeks ago, and then now it's like minus 10. Just whoosh. This is the time to do this work. Okay, we're getting there. Back here in the studio. And no more filing for a while. But while I was at the bench in the workshop doing those links, I had an idea. Why not make a cat bud? So I'm going to, you're hearing about it first right now. The unveiling, the launch of the new cat bud design, which is essentially our small dog bud. And I've taken some of the weight off it. Silver is heavy. The metals we work in, the precious metals, are heavy. We're always battling that issue as designers, working with precious metals. It can add up. So I don't want to burden your cat with a bud that might be a little bit too heavy. So I drilled out the inside of the small dog bud to lighten it up a bit, and I think it's just excellent. It's like it has the appearance of a full bud, but is a little bit lighter for the cat. So Cat Bud by Tribe. We're the Cannabis Goldsmith up here in Canada. We do custom work. We make custom jewelry out of the cannabis plant. We take live cannabis plants and cast them into gold, silver, and platinum jewelry for stage, screen, or just because you want to wear crazy jewelry. That's why we're here. What I'm working on today in the studio is an amazing pendant. A hip-hop size pendant. It's like 3 inches across. It's a live cast from a cannabis plant that we've got growing in the studio. So I took off the very top of it, and this sprout and the leaves, the very topmost part of the plant, not the cola, before the colas even formed, before all that. This is just the vegetative stage of the plant. So it's growing towards the sun, or in this case towards the light that's in the tent, but it's seeking energy, and I just snipped the top off and okay, don't don't send me emails about that. This is good for the plant because it encourages it to grow wider, and this is what I wanted to do. But I took the top of it off, and this is the top that I cast in sterling silver. And I took one of the leaves and made a bale and attached that to it. So it has an integrated leaf bale. It's a crazy design. But what that means is that you'll be able to string a necklace, or if you have a chain that you have already, you can just thread it through this huge loop and wear it. But it's heavy, so you're going to need a pretty heavy chain to wear this sucker. It's gigantic. Anyway, inspired by the 1980s giant hip hop pendants, and made out of cannabis leaves cast live, and they just, you can see the life in them, and it's just beautiful. I think I'm gonna make a belt buckle out of the same design in sterling silver. But anyway, so that's what's been on the workshop today on the bench. And in the upcoming shows, I know I said I would be doing seeds earlier, but I mean, there's so much going on. There's like the Davos of fashionistas is happening soon, the Met Gala. Now, Karl Lagerfeld is the theme of this. So, I don't know, Karl wore jewelry, but he wasn't so much known for it. He was more known for clothing design. I'm sure he did design jewelry, and there might even be pieces there. I'll have to do some research on that. But anyway, it's the Met Gala, the Davos of fashionistas. And it's kind of a Vogue magazine charity thing. You know, the dying embers of the fashion magazine industry. But it raises money for a good cause. But this is ground zero for fashionistas. So we'll see. I mean, it's post-pandemic. We'll see what appears at the Met Gala. So I'm definitely going to be reviewing the jewelry at the Met Gala. I'm going to be looking at images from that and reviewing it. And then, if that wasn't all, I mean, there's the Academy Awards is coming up too. But that might be that's more like rental jewelry stuff. It's more like, the jewelry brand goes to the store and says, wear this, right? It's not. But anyway, we might get to see some good designs. It's nothing to do with the stars. We might get to see some good designs, hopefully. And if that's not enough, I mean, there's still, and there's more, and there's more. The most epic event of all, the most epic jewelry event of all, is the king's coronation. King Charles is getting crowned. And for a coronation, they bring out the heavyweight jewelry. Now this is an empire. This is jewels acquired over the course of like a long time, and this was the jewels acquired as an empire. So there are some pieces in this that are just mind blowing. So we're going to be reviewing that. We're going to be talking about. There's literally books written on these pieces. So it depends what he'll be wearing at this. The what I'm interested in, I mean, there's just so much. And I'm sure at the event, people are going to be wearing all the craziest jewelry they own, like the most expensive, most ridiculous shit ever. But what I'm interested in is what he will be wearing in the official photograph, because that's the image people will always see, like of him, right? Like when Queen Elizabeth was around, when she was crowned, her coronation photograph, she's there with the crown, the scepter, the orb, all these different jewelry accessories, and each of them has meaning. And Each of them is made by jewelers, and each of them is designed and often repaired and resized or remade. Some things might be remade for this or reconfigured or whatever. So we're going to find out all that stuff and bring that to you. So those are like huge jewelry events coming up, and we're going to look at it. I'm going at it as just a curious dude. I'm interested in jewelry, and that's that. So hopefully, if you're coming along for the ride, we can enjoy it together. Anyway, that's it for me. It's late right now, so I am going to get right to the end credits. The Cannabis Goldsmith is produced by Tribe Communications Inc. in the Thousand Islands area of Ontario, Canada. Follow us online at tribe.ca. The .ca stands for Canada on the web. Follow us on Instagram at TRIBEDOTCA. Send me an email, alexd@cannabisgoldsmith.com. Tell a friend or two about this podcast. If you have a friend who's interested in jewelry, wants to know more about precious metals in jewelry or gemstones or any of that kind of shit as it relates to jewelry, or what the hip-hop stars are wearing, or what the movie stars are wearing, or what's being worn at the Met Gala or the Grammys, subscribe to the Cannabis Goldsmith. We're your friend in the business. Anyway, I'm going to get back to work here because I am making amazing pendants out of live cannabis leaves cast in sterling silver. And these are like art pieces, like works of art in like a belt buckle or a large hip-hop sized pendant, to give you the idea of where I'm going with these. I'm posting pics as I work to my Instagram stories, and more permanent pics are going into the Instagram account itself, and importantly, at tribe.ca, which is our home base. Have a good week. Think about gemstones. Think about jewelry. If you're out and around, look at other people's jewelry. Look at what they're wearing. Notice it. I mean, that's the mission. That's the homework this week. It's just to notice other people's jewelry, to see what they're wearing, if they're wearing anything. I mean, look for unusual shit, not just wedding bands that everybody wears, but look to see if they're wearing anything unusual. And if they are, ask them about it. That's it for me. I'll see you on Wednesday.